Um, oh, okay. um, good. There's nothing you can drive a truck through, but I think as an outsider coming in, it's easy to take for granted the phenomenal work that is here. It's easy if you're, and that makes sense, right? If you've been somewhere a long time, oh yeah, I already know that. But when you're an outsider coming in, and all the stories are new to you in terms of what we're doing on cancer and COVID research and the arts and all kinds of other areas where we're strong, you see that and you think, we can do more with that. We can do more with that in all the different ways that you tell stories. And part of that is having a new view on it, and saying, how do we get into this story in a more compelling way? How do we hit people right here? You know, don't just say someone does cancer research. Why do they do cancer research? What in their personal background makes this their passion? I think that's where you can tell more compelling stories that help us tell our own story, but also nationally and internationally, and we can be more aggressive with talking about what makes us special and our differentiators, because we've got a lot of them.
Oh, Shayna.
Hi, Kamrhan, welcome. Thank you for joining us. So one of the things that I think the last couple of years has shown us is that communication just happens so quickly. And one of the things that has been a little frustrating for staff is that a lot of times we find out what's going on our campus via the news. And so we were wondering, is there sort of a game plan to try to, I mean, I don't even know how you would resolve that. Everything happens so quickly, things change so quickly.
Yeah.
But it's just a whole different time.
Oh yeah, social media has given us the powerful spigot to tell the world our news. It also has given us a powerful spigot for everybody else. So social media has quickened the pace of everything, and it's honestly sometimes hard for us to keep up with everything that is happening on campus in real time. But I think while you can't make sure everybody knows about everything before it ends up in the press because of that timing, you can make sure that when it is an opportunity that you can communicate ahead of time, that you do. And what I'm talking about is universities, I think the ones I've been worked at, communicating change management. Like, we're going in this direction, or we're changing how we budget, or we're changing this, or we're changing that. I think that is something you can anticipate. And that is something that you can step through with different groups so that they feel like they are aware of it before the press knows. So we'll never get all of it in this environment, because boy, we're chasing it sometimes. But you can do more with the things you can control. And I think universities are very complicated organizations, and I think the communications team is one of the few teams that traverses the entire university and strives to know what all is going on. And because we have that broad view, we can assist the different parts of the university in making sure they remember the different audiences to communicate with, in other ways than just emails, in person, in meetings with the leadership of staff, faculty, and students, and making sure that you do that before suddenly it's in the newspaper. But it is tricky. That is a big part of what we do, is try to be organized about that, but you don't always have control of it.
Thank you.
All right, final question for Kamrhan. Arlene.
This is so petty. But since your communications, do you know why we had a power outage yesterday?
So ask the question, because wasn't that weird? Some buildings had power and some didn't. I asked that question this morning, and the best answer I got was, and I don't know how accurate this is, but this is our recon this morning and talking to facilities and who have probably talked to utility people, is that Duke Energy had like a brownout blackout. And my first question was, does that happen here? Because a Californian, that's a problem in California. They do have blackouts and brownouts that are just expected because they've run out of energy. But that's what I was told is there was just simply didn't have enough power to keep everything going, and that is highly unusual. So I wouldn't quote me on that, but that's the best that my team could find out this morning.
I think everyone's minds immediately went to Moore County when that happened yesterday. So thankfully it did not extend longer than that. But thank you so much, Kamrhan, for being with us this morning. Welcome again.
Thank you.
Please feel free to engage with this group moving forward if you need anything. Staff are such a powerful tool here on this campus. So we're here for you and for your office and to make communications better at Carolina. So thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
And we have Chancellor Guskiewicz with us this morning. Welcome, Kevin.
Good morning, and I apologize. Kamrhan, thank you for jumping in and helping us to readjust the schedule. But it's good to see everyone. And Katie, thank you for having me this morning. It's great to see everyone here at the end of a successful fall semester. As I was coming in this morning, I thought, wow, things are calming. You can see with each passing day as students are finishing finals, there's less activity on campus. So it's kind of nice to see things tapering down a little bit. It won't be long. We have just about 5 weeks from today. I think we're back at it again. But again, thanks for having me with you. Apologize for the delay, but Coach Karen Shelton just stopped in to say hello with me, and I wanted to give her that time. So I appreciate you adjusting things. It's been exciting since we last met. We did win. Speaking of Coach Shelton, we won a national championship in field hockey, which was great. I had a chance to be up there in Storrs, Connecticut for that. And then as you may have seen, or you may have been there, but Monday night was tough over in Cary at USA Soccer Complex, but we came so close to winning another national championship in women's soccer. Came up just short in overtime to UCLA, but our athletics teams are playing really well right now, especially our women's teams. They are just incredible. Our women's basketball team, who will be hosting tonight, I think UNC Wilmington. So I hope if you get a chance to stop over to cheer on the Tar Heels, that would be great. But at any rate, a few updates, and then I'm happy to take any questions. But as you know, last month we celebrated the end of our campaign for Carolina. I want to just thank all of you, because everybody on this campus plays a role in us raising the kind of money that supports our the $5 billion that we raised, and is continuing to climb. We still have a few weeks left here till the end of December. Will, as I have said over and over, will have an impact on our campus for generations to come. And it was a special night there on October the 29th, I think it was. I'm sorry, November the 18th, when we celebrated over at the Ellie Smith Fieldhouse. And thanks to all of you that again participated in making that evening possible. We're now looking to the future and bridging this past campaign with the next one. You may have seen that last week I announced that Mike Andreasen, who's a senior vice president for university advancement at the University of Oregon, has been selected as Carolina's next vice chancellor for development. Mike will replace David Ruth, who many of you know. David will be stepping down at the end of December. David's done an incredible job here for 10 years, the architect of the current campaign, and has just done a tremendous job. And so if you have a chance to thank him as he prepares to leave Carolina, he has told me, he said, I will always be working for Carolina, but just as a volunteer now. But so I know that Mike and Grayson will be up for this challenge. And so in this interim period between campaigns, we're going to be focusing on what we're calling the Next Grand Challenges Initiative. You may have seen a call for proposals about 7 weeks ago or so, 7-8 weeks ago. And this is where we're going to focus our efforts to try to tackle big problems in our world today that we are uniquely qualified to solve at Carolina. We received 33 proposals from the schools and units out across the campus. And I'm really excited about the future. And we've identified five of those proposals that we're going to start with that we will try to develop into $50 to $100 million proposals to go out to ask our donors early in the new year to help us bridge these two campaigns. And the three themes that sort of rose to the top as we looked at these 33 proposals, 67% of them, 2/3 of them, were focused on 21st century. 45% of the proposals were on workforce development. As you know, we've been talking, and we just talked about this at our joint cabinet meeting yesterday with all the deans and vice provosts and vice chancellors about succession planning. It's something that I've talked with employee forum about and talked to our staff advisory committee about. How do we reassure our staff at Carolina that there are opportunities for upward mobility at Carolina so that we don't lose our top talent to other universities or to industry. And so workforce development is, we will see showing up in these proposals. And it's about workforce development for, again, staff, faculty, our students, preparing them for their careers. The third theme that we saw, 27% of these proposals had some connection to health and wellness and mental health, something that, again, we've talked about here at Employee Forum. And so I think you'll see, we'll be, again, over the next probably 7-8 months, really pulling together proposals that I think we'll be able to put in front of some of our supporters to get them excited about helping us launch that next campaign. Hard to believe we're talking about the next one when we're just about to finish this current one. So again, thanks for all your support as we move forward with that. Second thing I just want to mention is that we are in the midst of the budget. A process we put in place last year, last October, November. It worked really well. And I just want to emphasize, this will be an annual process, but want to emphasize how important this budget process is. It's also been really important as we have increased transparency as a university about how we are spending our resources and aligning them with our top priorities that for the most part show up in Carolina Next. And so we've worked to ensure that those priorities are reflected in how we're going to spend the resources. And we've listened to our community about where those priorities should be. And as you may have heard earlier this week, we've increased graduate student stipends effective January 1st, something that we have continued to hear from our community about. When I was dean of the college, we began a process by which we could try to increase those minimum stipends, and in working closely with the provost and several of the deans, predominantly the dean of arts and sciences, because this is where the minimum stipend has, where we struggled. Most of our departments we have graduate students that are well above that minimum stipend, but we were able to increase the minimum stipend to $20,000 for all departments in order to. And so I'm glad we were able to accomplish that. But again, it's because we have a balanced budget now for the first time, over the past 2 years, first time in over a decade that we've had a balanced budget. But this involves our staff as well. And I'm working closely with Vice Chancellor Becci Menghini, Nate Knuffman, and UNC system to continue to work toward increasing staff salaries as well. I appreciated all of your support with the resolution in support of our housekeepers last spring. And I think you probably have heard that we have been able to accomplish sort of reclassification on those that will very soon allow us to increase those salaries for our housekeepers. And so I'm hopeful that that will help retain that critical workforce here on our campus. And appreciated the resolution that the forum put forward about sexual assault and sexual harassment. It's something that's front and center on every campus. When I'm meeting with other university presidents and chancellors, this topic always comes up. And so I'm glad that this is something that's important to you at the forum. And I will tell you, we'll do everything to try to have the policies and procedures in place, and that they're being enforced in a way that makes everybody on this campus feel safe, both physically and emotionally safe. And that's really important. You know, in this week, our new senior prevention strategy officer, David Oberfell, started in his position in student affairs, and he will oversee our efforts in that space. And so I'm grateful for the important work that's been done already. And I know that there's a lot more that we can be doing. And so I'm interested in your yesterday, as I mentioned, our joint leadership cabinet, and we heard about the progress that we're making around these critical priorities for the university. And I just want to continue to emphasize that strategic plan is still a roadmap for our future. And I hope that you feel that you can use it in that way that gets people aligned around the common themes. And we're focusing on career development, our research and innovation powerhouse, and promoting democracy and efforts around free speech. And I know that we've talked at the forum and within the staff advisory committee about the importance of free speech and everyone's right to express themselves freely. And I just want to reaffirm our commitment to our staff and the importance of all three of those as we move forward into the new year. We want our staff is supported, that you know that we're investing in your future, and I hope that you'll continue to challenge us when you feel that we can do better. I want your voices at the table. Well, I said I do have one last thing. I just wanted to mention just the other search updates on leadership, on the leadership team. We are in the process of campus interviews for the. I know some of you have asked about that, and that's going really well. Likewise, the vice provost for libraries, so our university librarian, that search, we're right in the middle of campus interview. And we have just recently launched the search for our new dean of the business school, Keenan Flagler Business School. And so more to come on that in the new year. And I just want to thank you. And any questions, Katie, if there's time?
Questions for Chancellor Guskiewicz? Thank you for those updates. Arlene?
I'm sorry, my sound cut out. It's a search for who?
I think it was the first search that cut out before the libraries one.
Thank you.
Did I cut out for some
Just
reason?
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, actually, it came up and said I had suddenly my internet connection was not great. What I mentioned was that we've got several searches, and the search for the school. We're in the midst of those interviews. Likewise, that for the vice provost for libraries.
It cut out again. I'm so sorry, Kevin.
Is it really?
Yeah. Maybe put in the chat which the first search, the library search we heard.
Let me see if I shut my camera off. I don't know if that helps. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, it was the search for the dean of the School of Government. It's not working again.
It worked. Yeah, perfect. We got it.
I'm gonna try to go back to my camera here.
All right. Next up, Kira.
Yeah, thanks for the conversation, Chancellor Guskiewicz, about free speech and about the mental health components that staff are still sort of facing. And in that vein, I was just curious, there's been a lot of conversation on campus, specifically in the Daily Tar Heel, and work that the Employee Forum has done around acknowledging the impact of the Dobbs decision. And I think, a lot of us on this call right now are, not looking necessarily for UNC to come out on a side of things, but given the sort of ongoing conversations, especially in the Chronicle of Higher Education, about how Dobbs can impact staff, students, and faculty at in university settings, especially when it comes to retention, upward mobility, given what you're talking about, and just sort of, the ability to participate in the workforce. We're just curious, if the university has plans to just recognize in the same way that UNC has done in the past when there have been shootings that impact people's feeling of safety, bodily autonomy, ability to participate in communities in which they sit. We're just wondering if you can give us an update about that.
Sure. And can you hear me okay? Is the connection working better? Katie?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So we continue to have conversations around this. We are, our program for public discourse is, taking on these critical issues and bringing speakers to campus to discuss them. I have said in several public settings that we have experts on this campus who study many of these issues that are important to society, not just the members of our campus community, but to society in general. And we have to continue to educate, and we'll continue to do that. I have had recent conversation with members of our general that the impact that a post-Dobbs decision that would change our law here in North Carolina could potentially have on our campus community. And I was pleased with what I heard that they anticipate likely happening in this long session. I'm optimistic that we won't see a major change to our law as we've seen in some other states. So we will continue to advocate around the facts that our star faculty, researchers, and others can bring to this conversation.
Yeah, I think that's great. And it's not, I'm glad to hear that it sounds like there might not be more backslide on the rights that individuals already have in this state. I think it might be valuable. I think we talked previously, or there's been discussion about the use of the well to promote important topics like this that impact campus community. I don't know if there's a way to sort of get or share rather the information that you're hearing about how laws might impact staff on campus, faculty and students as well. I'm not sure if those are closed doors meetings that you can't share out, but things like that help us better understand. And by us, I mean the campus community, sort of where we're headed, because I think there's a lot of tension and anxiety given that the legislature is going to be in session again here soon, and there's been rumblings about what could potentially happen.
Sure. Kamrhan, who I know you just had a chance to hear from, Kamrhan Farwell, is doing a great job as our new VC for communications, and does have some ideas about ways in which we can think about the well and utilize the well. Kamrhan, I don't know if you want to jump in on that.
Yeah, I think taking a look at the well and sort of its purpose and what it does and its audience and all of that is kind of part of our discussion. And if people have thoughts about that, definitely shoot me a note. I do think one thing to think about, though, is that we talk a lot about all the different ways to communicate. And I think sometimes there's a feeling that if there isn't an email, then there isn't communication. And I think actually more sophisticated communication involves beyond email, because a lot of people don't read email. In engagements like this, where the chancellor is speaking directly to you, those kinds of engagements are often really good vehicles for. Yes, it's strange feedback. Are you all hearing that? A motorcycle? That's an opportune time to ask questions and talk about some of those things. And I know that since I've been here, the chancellor and the chancellor staff have come, and I haven't always seen this, pretty much attend every staff, faculty, student, and also advisory groups to communicate, and often do provide updates on different laws or different things that are happening through those channels. And those are often more valuable than, say, a well story, because there's a back and forth, a chance to ask questions back and forth. But I'm not saying that the well doesn't serve a purpose in that way. But I think looking at communications in its entirety and all the different ways that we communicate, that if it's you know, if it's not in an email, that doesn't mean there haven't been conversations.
Kamrhan, thank you so much. I just want to just point out one thing since we are talking about the well, and that is, you know, we experienced some frustration because the well does cover this meeting and covers what happens in this meeting. And that is a really important way for us to get the work that we do out to our campus community and specifically staff. And I think one thing that we're running into, and sort of the premise of why we're having this conversation today, is the fact that when we did pass the Dobbs decision back in September, the well notably didn't include that piece of our meeting. And so, you know, the work that we're doing and to Chancellor Guskiewicz's point about entities on campus giving voice and speaking about this particular topic in the ways that we can in terms of advocating for staff based on the work that we do, you know, when those things are notably missing from communications that are supposed to support our work, that causes some tension for us and prompts us to question what's going on and how, you know, we can actually get the word out about what it is that we do on this forum.
Understood. I think all of those things we'll be looking at going forward, looking at how we do all the things we do. And I also think that, you know, the well is kind of a summary of what's happening all over campus, and it is a summary. And there are multiple channels for you all to communicate out the details of what this body does. I believe you have access to all the staff through listservs and channels. So we'll take a look at what we're doing, but I would encourage this body to also take advantage of the channels that it has to communicate. And I'm sure you do, but there's, you know, as our work, there's always new ways to get things out to people. Getting things to people is hard business these days because everyone's so busy and they're scrolling through so much stuff. But we'll be taking a look at what we do, but I would encourage you to also use your own channels.
Rebecca. Oh, you're muted, Rebecca.
Sorry about that. Forgot to hit my unmute button. I'm Rebecca Howell, and I just wanted to speak a bit more to what Kira was talking about. And just to say that, you know, omissions sometimes speak more loudly than what is actually written in the well. And historically, going back in the well a couple of years during the pandemic, even prior to or whenever the well started, but definitely during the pandemic, the well has covered our meetings pretty extensively in terms of the summary. And so I'm going to push on this a little bit harder because there were resolutions passed in previous meetings, and there was at least a link to them in the well. If they weren't covered extensively, there was at least a notice that the employee forum passed this resolution. Here's a link. Feel free to take a look at it. And the fact that the link to the resolution and even mention that we passed a resolution was omitted is a very strong statement. And I would really like a little bit more information and explanation as to why that was not included. Even a simple reference to this proclamation was passed. Here's a link. Whether you mention what the topic is or not, for me, that omission said very clearly, we're not comfortable even mentioning this topic in the well. And so I do want a further explanation as to why that was excluded, as given how extensive the summaries are.
So Rebecca, let me jump in on this and then Kamrhan can jump in. But our office receives resolutions, proclamations every week, whether it's from student government. I had 5 last week from student government. We receive them from all sorts of groups on campus. We cannot use the well as a way in which we're going to post every single resolution, proclamation, statement that comes out of a group on this campus. And Kamrhan brings a wealth of experience and expertise from another university where she's really turned their communications venues and different options of communicating out. Has done it in a really important way. It's one of the reasons why we hired her. So I think she's going to find a path, a way that we're going to be able to try to push out as much as we can, but we can't put post every resolution we receive out to the community.
And I 100% respect that. But when there is a summary of what happened in a meeting, a single sentence saying this body passed this resolution, here's a link to the resolution, I think is an entirely appropriate thing to say in a meeting. I will not back down from that one at all. I do think the omission was intentional. It felt intentional. And because we have a history of the well mentioning resolutions that we passed without going into detail of them when they provide the summaries of the meetings, that says a lot to me as a staff member. And I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
Okay, folks. Well, thank you both to Chancellor Guskiewicz and to our new Vice Chancellor for Communications, Kamrhan Farwell, for being with us this morning. We've run a little bit short on time and I want to get to our special presentations now. So thank you for being here and feel free to stay on. Kevin, you missed my plug this morning to come out and join the blood drive if you have some time today. It's going on at Fetzer, so we'd love to see you there if you have time.
I am going to try to get over there, Katie. So
I love it.
I usually show up for those. And real quick, I know James, you put a question in there. I just know that we're working hard on trying to get information out to the employees that, especially in the housekeeping area, I think is a question that James asked about when they'll realize that increase. We want the units to be able to be part of that communication first, but we hope that the good news will be out there soon.
All right, so first special presentation we have today, we'd like to welcome Rick Wernoski, who's Senior Vice Provost for Business Operations and Continuous Improvement, and consultant Liz Billings to talk about the Operational Excellence new Lean Foundations training. So welcome to Rick and Liz. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Thanks, Katie, and thanks team here for having us. It's been a while since I've been back to this forum to talk about operational excellence work that we've done and also kind of share what we have to offer the university. I'm going to just start by giving a quick high-level overview of operational excellence, just to level set a little bit. And then I'm going to turn it over to Liz, who's going to do a deeper dive into the lean management training, foundations training. And Liz, I believe you're controlling the slide deck. Okay, if you could just advance the slide. So again, just kind of outline our quick conversation. I don't know, we don't have a lot of time, but for those of you who don't have experience in working with operational excellence, we act as a catalyst for change and a champion for transformation across the university and supporting of the key mission of teaching, research, and public service. And we do so in partnering with many of you across campus, and we partner with schools and units and departments through the development of that transformative change. Our vision is somewhat bold, but it aims to be a premier strategic consulting and change management team that not only serves the Carolina community, but influences the Academy of Higher Education in general. We serve on national conference, national teams and committees, as well as giving national presentations at time representing our work here at Carolina. So next slide, please. Just guiding principles. We engage the whole UNC community when we were very intentional when we look at projects and how we bring together teams to help solve problems. We go into it with a blank slate, no predetermined solutions in mind, and we work towards coming up with a solution, empowering those individuals on the team to drive that process forward. Again, we work kind of backwards from the end state, what's our current state, what's our future state, and how do we get there? And then really, in speaking to the lean management, we want to develop this culture of continuous improvement culture across campus. Next slide, Liz. Oh, there you go. And just a high level, some of you might be familiar with these services that we provide, and again, might have been a part of it. Solution design is probably one that you're most familiar with. An example of that is probably the last time that we were here talking about future work and a great partnership with Becci and Link and Nate and developing the future work project. transformation and change management. If you heard about the Carolina Community Academy, we partnered with the School of Education around developing a school in Person County, a partnership between the School of Education and Person County Schools. Advisory, these are advisory, facilitation are kind of, and training are kind of those lighter touches. Advisory, an example is I'm currently working with a new dean in a school and helping with their transition and their leadership transition. Facilitation is maybe that you have an issue, a problem, data, but just not sure on what to do with it. So an example, we could come in and help do an impact feasibility study and try to move you in the right direction. And then finally, training is what you're going to hear a little bit more about. And this was early on in operational excellence, and I've been in this role since the fall of 2018. And the issue was, how are we going to address all of the opportunities and concerns around campus with the team that we have? We're highly dependent upon all of you as volunteers to come and help us. But we also thought about how can we kind of embed this mindset across campus and provide the tools in the toolbox that we work with to campus. And so my solution there was trying to develop a training program. And we have had one, and Liz will get into it, but we've started to, over the last couple of months, started to roll that out. And Liz will talk about those details, but that's a way of us trying to spread our experience, knowledge, and toolkit across campus. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Liz to talk more in depth about the training, which you all want to hear about.
Yep. Thank you, Rick. And good morning, everyone. As Rick mentioned, my name is Liz Billings, and I am the continuous improvement consultant on OE's team. So we have a little image up there to kind of prompt your thinking, but I would just like everyone to take a moment to reflect on what lean means to you and what you think your definition of lean is as we get into some of the details of this training. So lean is a problem-solving method that is rooted in the scientific method. It provides you with a set of tools to help you improve your processes within your units and departments. We really want to drive home that this is a mindset where everyone involved in the process is searching for problems and identifying opportunities to solve them to increase the efficiency within your teams. So our course, Lean Foundations, is an introductory training designed to inspire this culture to continually improve the operations that support the university's missions. And through experiential activities, you will be introduced to the foundational lean principles utilized in our team's work. So through our training, you will be introduced to 3 approaches to continuous improvement, including tools that can be used to improve the processes and teach yourself and your teams how to eliminate waste in your daily work. So our 3 learning objectives are: 1, to understand the 5 lean principles and why they are necessary for transformative change; 2, to explore how to apply the lean principles to increase value and eliminate waste in your daily work; and 3, to inspire this culture of continuous improvement. So in August, we piloted Lean Foundation with a group of about 20 colleagues. And this was really successful. We received a lot of really great and important feedback and incorporated them into our launch, which took place on October 26th and 27th. And so to date, we have certified over 50 colleagues across campus in their Lean Foundations training. And to celebrate the launch of our training, we've created an OE training website. And what you'll find on our website are our learning objectives of the program, upcoming session dates, and our new Lean Foundations training dashboard, which you can see a snapshot of here on the screen. And throughout all of our work, we really are aiming to be data-driven and to use key metrics to evaluate and help us direct change in the work that we're doing. So not only will this dashboard help us to continuously improve our trainings, but we're hoping that it will give participants and future participants a glimpse into what they can expect to learn. And we do collect survey data after each training, and we'll continue to improve the training, just like we're asking all of you to do moving forward. So looking to the next slide. So I wanted to provide some information on upcoming trainings and how you can register. So our next 2 trainings will be held January 25th from 1 to 4:30 and the 26th from 8:30 to 12 o'clock. You can register for these trainings in Carolina Talent. And I did just want to take a moment to thank Mark Coppola, who has been imperative in helping us get this up and launched and the successful process that we've experienced through our first several trainings. So each training allows for 24 participants, and we do have a wait list, which we encourage you to join, and you will be notified if a spot opens up. We have seen that these trainings are filling up very quickly. And I have also put my contact information up here on the screen and encourage you to reach out to me with any questions or ideas or information that you are looking for to support your registration or participation in this training program. And of course, you can always visit our website for more information and to review our dashboard and all of the information that we just reviewed today. And with that, that is all the information I have to share, and we're opening it up to questions.
Perfect. Thanks, Liz. And thanks, Rick. Questions for the Operational Excellence team?
Liz, can you drop the share screen?
Yes.
Well, I took the training, got my certificate here. So I highly recommend it, as it seems like it's a good start. I think that there's definitely more to build on around lean foundations, but great job to you and your team. And feel free to let us know if we can help share the message in any way to campus community.
Thank you, Katie. I'll just quickly follow up on your comment. That is probably what we heard the most, is that, again, as the title is, it's a lean foundations course. And so it's a very high level introduction. And what we heard most from both our pilot and our two first sessions is we're hungry for more. We want more. How can we take this back and apply this? And we had individuals who took some high level discussion concepts back and have already implemented. But we're now working, Liz and I are starting to think about what are those next kind of deep dive applications that you learned about, were introduced to in the foundations course, to provide some additional trainings around that. So appreciate the fact that we went from 0 to 60 in a sense. This didn't exist. Also a big thank you to UNC Health, who was a great partner of ours to help mold kind of what this was. They had an existing program and we've kind of Carolinatized it from an academic perspective, but now we're hearing from the participants, probably the greatest feedback is we want more. We want that deeper dive. And so we are working on that, and we will meet that demand as well going forward.
Great. All right. Well, thank you for being with us. All right. Moving on to our next special presentation, I'd like to welcome Director Laura Kuizin. I don't know if I pronounced your name right. I apologize if I did not. And she's here to present about the Master's of Professional Studies program here at the UNC Graduate School. So welcome, Laura, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. I appreciate the invitation to meet with you. I know that we're somewhat short on time, so I'm going to show my presentation. I will encourage each of you, if anyone has any questions or interest beyond, what I share this afternoon, please reach out. Let me pull my screen up for you. Okay. Can you see this all right? All right, so again, my name is Laura Kuizin, and I'm here to talk about the Master of Applied Professional Studies program. This is a new program that is, let me close this real quick. This is a new program that's administratively housed out of the graduate school. So it's our first and only program that is being offered right now. This program is an interdisciplinary graduate program that's designed basically, this is going to touch on what the Chancellor shared about the 21st century skills workforce development that we're looking towards. When this program was initially, came to conception in 2020, the key applicants that we were looking for are UNC staff and UNC system staff. It's an opportunity for you to basically design a program that is unique to your needs, and also it's geared towards improving regional and state workforce development. At the core of this program right now is kind of a combination of professional development, personal self-assessment skills that we're hoping you can take, in terms of this degree to the workforce and make improvements. In terms of this particular program, when it was come up with, we want to create something that's new, something that's innovative. We were looking for what currently exists in North Carolina and kind of where the need was in terms of additional graduate programs that we could offer. In terms of this particular program, as I mentioned, this is a combination of at least 2 different programs on campus. There is also grad school courses that students will take. And the key the impetus for this particular program is that the students in this program really come up with something that's going to fulfill a workforce need. This could be something in your current role, something outside a role, something that you're interested in moving towards in terms of your career trajectory. But this program is basically designed to give you that extra step and those resources to move forward. Unlike other master's programs, some programs have a thesis option. This one is a capstone project. This capstone project is specifically designed by the student to make some type of improvement or advancement, either in your current role on campus or in something that you're interested in pursuing. This is a 30-hour degree. The introductory course is 3 credit hours. We launch our first program. We have our first cohort, and we'll start in January of 2023. Excited about that. There's an introductory course that is professional development, professional skills, as well as self-assessment and getting started with what type of capstone are the students interested in pursuing, and kind of setting the groundwork for that. There are 9 hours of professional skills that are offered through the grad school. 15 hours, and this is, I think, where the fun part comes in for our students, is they can pick courses. They can basically select 2 departments, 9 hours from one department, 6 hours from another department, and go through and design the curriculum that best suits what their needs are. What I like about this is flexibility in terms of full-time, part-time. Students have up to 5 years to complete it. I would say realistically, an 18-month, is going to be the quickest students can get through this if they're taking this full-time. But again, with the flexibility, students do have up to 5 years to complete this. This mix, basically in terms of the course offerings, it's a mixture of in-person and online. It's hard to say right now in terms of what courses students will be taking and how the format will be, because it's based on the curriculum that you develop. If you go, and I won't share this right now, but interested, we have areas of interest. I've basically put 5 different types of interest, we call them concentrations, that are available right now for students to go through and kind of get an idea of what type of curriculum they could develop, what type of concentration they might be interested in developing. Please keep in mind, I encourage you, look at these, but I encourage you to think outside the box and develop your own curriculum, your own areas of interest. These are just examples. And so to just kind of put that out there, there may be something completely, unique to what you're looking for that's not offered on this. And I would encourage you, reach out to me and we can kind of talk about it further in terms of what you're hoping to get from your degree. In terms of the thesis, I shared that there's a capstone project in lieu of the thesis. It's 3 hours. It's the final semester that students are enrolled in the course. They'll be, working towards the completion of this throughout their time with the program. The final semester will be the capstone presentation, again, aligned with the North Carolina workforce needs, either state or regional. Proposed project is going to be reviewed by a committee. Each student will have 3 committee members that will help them fine tune anything, answer questions, provide additional resources, whatnot. Application requirements for those who are interested in applying. You need to have a bachelor's degree with a 3.0 or higher, 3 letters of recommendation. I know oftentimes I have questions about the letters of recommendation. I would say that if you have an employer or someone that can attest to your work, your skills, your employment, those would be exceptional letters of recommendation. Doesn't necessarily have to be faculty only. I know for some of us, and I'm one of them, who returned to school many years after having gotten my bachelor's degree. It had been some time. I was no longer in contact with my faculty. So please keep that in mind, that there's definitely more options in terms of letters. Statement of purpose will be something that you provide insight as to why you're pursuing this degree, what you hope to get from it, and how this is going to benefit not only you professionally, but the workforce that you're either currently in or interested in pursuing. Your CV, community standard questions, Those are just some basic questions that are on the application page. And then the application fee, as employees right now, you may benefit from the tuition waiver program. I would definitely encourage you, for those who are employed 30 hours or more, look into that, because this is a phenomenal opportunity to pursue a master's degree on campus. You can get 9 hours provided per semester or per year with that. And I will stop sharing. I've got my email up here on this, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you may have, or you're welcome to reach out to me personally, and we can set up time to go over this in more detail. But I'm thrilled. I'm so excited to be able to share this with you, because I think that this is definitely kind of looking around at what North Carolina has to offer and what degrees are available. This is something that really resonated with me in terms of, thinking back to my own journey through grad school and kind of what I was looking for. This is something that each of you would have an opportunity to tailor it to your needs.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Laura. Questions about the MAPS master's degree program?
Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate this. This is a great opportunity for professional development for staff here on campus. So we definitely want to make sure that we get the word out about this new program. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Excellent. Good caveat to turn to our traditional human resources update. Becci Menghini is with us today. Thanks for being with us, Becci.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to see everybody. I don't have much of a big update today, but I want to both acknowledge those of you who participated in the Jingle Bell Jog. I know there was a big cohort out there, so thanks for engaging in that. I also want to thank those of you participating in the blood drive and acknowledge that we've all made it through another semester. We got through LDOC. I know many of you are rounding out the end of exam season and anticipating commencement. If you're anything like me, you're anticipating the winter break, perhaps more than commencement or anything else. And if you're anything like me, your preferred response to most things coming in your box these days is, that sounds like a 2023 problem, which is what I'd like to say. Unfortunately, we have a few days of work between now and 2023. I hope, though, you all manage to get through those days with good cheer and good humor, and have an opportunity to get a little bit of downtime on the winter break with those you hold most dear. I don't have much in terms of updates, other than some of you have asked about the labor market adjustment reserve. Those dollars have been allocated to the university. We're working our way through. Units have been evaluating their ability to put those dollars in place. As I think I mentioned previously, this is 1% of our state-funded payroll base that is allocated to the university to help deal with labor market adjustments. There were some pretty specific rules around these dollars. We have been focused on dealing with those who are most below market rate. But one of the challenges inherent in the allocation of these dollars, which I think I mentioned previously, is anybody that as of June 30th had multiple funding sources for their position. So if it was 50% state funded and 50% on grants, the allocation of any labor market adjustment has to come in equal amounts. So in order to use a portion of that labor market money, we also have to contribute money we have locally. As you might expect, the university was not planning on this money and didn't budget accordingly. And so we have been trying to figure out how we can most take advantage of all of the dollars without creating new financial impacts in other areas. I want to be very clear, this money is to address labor markets. It's intended to work across bands. It is not, I like Katie, she's done a really good job. Shayna's had a rougher year, I don't want to give her money. That is not the way this money is to be used, but rather it is instead to be looked at. We seem to be paying our business officers at 88% of market. We'd like to get them closer to 95 or 100% of market. How do we get there? So that money has been allocated, or we did some work centrally. We then turned all of that information back to the units. The units have returned it. We're now going through the approval and review of those. We're also coordinating with our colleagues at the system office. Our dear folks in HRIM have been working overnights and weekends. We had a poor employee fall asleep after being awake for 21 hours, loading this information with hopes that we can make the payroll in December. Those notices, once we are confirmed that everything is appropriate in the system, will go out. But I just wanted you to know that that work is underway. We continue, as Kevin noted, to do a lot of advocacy to figure out how we can continue to see forward movement on the ranges, particularly for our SHRA employees. We've got a couple of meetings upcoming with the system office to see how we might continue to move that. I do feel like there's some progress in allowing us to move at least a range evaluations forward outside of OSHR, but we're waiting on the final nod for that, as I mentioned previously. But I expect we've got one more meeting before the end of the calendar year, and then there's some meetings ramping up into the new year. So hopefully we'll have more news on that. I don't know that I'm missing anything, but I'm certainly happy to answer any questions should anybody have them.
Questions for Becci? I think that would actually be a first, that no one has questions for Becci. Like,
yeah, wow.
Oh, there we go, Arlene.
I'm going to mention the dreadful words.
There are so many dreadful words. I'm not sure what to expect.
Adverse weather leave. Any changes?
No, there are no changes. We've not heard any word that they're anticipating any changes. And the system office canceled our HR council meeting for today. So if we thought we'd have news on that beforehand, we're not going to. But I assure you, if we get changes to the adverse weather policy, I'm going to call a special meeting of the employee forum, because I will be so excited to share that news with this group.
That comes up every year without fail. I love it so much. Oh my goodness. Other questions for Becci and her team? Well, I'm sure we're going to have Jessica on here next.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Have a great winter break.
Oh, one more. David.
Hi, Becca. Is there any plans to update market ranges? You talked about getting people to market values. Are there any plans to update those ranges? Because those have not been updated since either 2017 or 20, I believe, was the last time those were updated.
Yeah, that's what sorry if I wasn't clear. I get sort of bogged down in HR speak, and that I know how all of this goes, and I recognize not everybody understands all of the logistics of who has authority for what. So we don't have local authority to change the ranges as a campus, nor does the UNC system office. The authority to change the ranges currently resides with the Office of State Human Resources. When I noted that we're having a number of conversations with the system office about being able to do some work on our ranges separate and apart from OSHR, that is an agreement that is currently being contemplated between the system office and OSHR, with a whole lot of advocacy on our end, because we know how important it is. But we cannot do that until we're given local authority to do so, or until the system is given authority to do so. So we're making some headway in that, more headway than we've seen in the last 4 years, but we don't yet have a nod to go forward.
Great. Well, keep us updated on that front. I'm sure that would be a nice holiday gift for all of us if we hear anything different on that front.
Absolutely.
Excellent. All right. Next up, as always, we have our Senior Work-Life Manager, Jessica Pidas, here, hopefully with some updates around perks and benefits.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Happy holiday season to everyone. I cannot believe this is the last employee forum meeting of the year. I just want to give you some updates on some things that happened over the past month, as well as some things that are still going on before we leave for break. So we did have a successful Healthy Holiday Lunch and Learn. We're happy to bring that back this year. First time since 2019, so it was fantastic to see people in person, including some folks from the employee forum. We had about 40 people come out in person for that. We had about 20 people participating virtually, and those who were able to get a seat at a table enjoyed a delicious lunch prepared by Carolina Dining Services. So we were happy to see you out. We also, as Becci had mentioned, and you may have seen in the well earlier this week, there was a very successful Jingle Bell Jog this year. I know this event did come back in person last December, but I will say this past week that I feel like we were back up to pre-pandemic participation. There were about 300 people out. The spirit was there. The costumes were there. The dogs were there, and I loved it. So thank you for all those that came out and got those extra steps in your day. The weather was beautiful, as we had a beautiful sunny day, no rain, snow, hail, sleet that day. So thank you. Our next opportunity for our campus jog will be for the Spring Fling, which happens the first Friday of every May. So I encourage you to bring that. I believe that falls on May 5th this year. So it'll be really interesting to see the costumes that brings. With our virtual opportunities, we kind of do skim back a little bit in the holiday season on our offerings for November and December, but we reached about 40 people in November in our Wellness Wednesdays, with gratitude being our biggest session. We have a session today on managing personal finances. And our session next week on the 14th is running on E, adding energy and passion to your work and life. This is a very busy time for many of us, and that is just a webinar to help you out so you don't burn yourself out if you're already there, to reset yourself and reprioritize. There is a national challenge now that is run called Maintain, Don't Gain, the Holiday Challenge. Now, did start November 14th, but there's no deadline to register to receive those healthy holiday tips in your inbox every morning, and that runs through December 31st. It is a 7-week challenge overall if you join when it first kicks off, and I will be sure that Katie and the Well get that link as well, but you can join anytime. And just a caveat to that, I have gotten some feedback from some campus folks when I promote Eat Smart, Move More, Weigh Less, or particularly this holiday challenge with the title being Maintain, Don't Gain, and how that might be insensitive to folks. This is a national program that is not developed by UNC. It's been running for 15 years. It was developed by, may I say it, NC State and the Division of Public Health, but is open to anyone throughout the state, and the holiday challenge is open to folks throughout the country, and people participate throughout, I believe, every state across the US. So I'm sorry, I did share feedback with my contact at Eat Smart Move More about the insensitivity of the title. So they do have that information, and we'll see what they do with it in the future. But it is a free resource to you. I've participated in both programs, and when you're actually in the program, I feel like it's all very appropriate information. With our partnership with the UNC Wellness Centers, they're offering some webinar support groups this month. So next week on Tuesday, they have a session at 11 a.m. on meal planning success. The third Wednesday of every month, they have their caregiver support group. And on Wednesday, the 14th, they have a session, a 45-minute session on presence, about taking a moment to calm yourself and how to be fully present throughout the holiday season and in the new year. So that starts at 2 o'clock and goes till 2:45. And these events are on our HR calendar. I hope you're very familiar with that by now. If you saw our Work Well newsletter, you may have noticed an announcement about a new financial wellness resource coming in the new year. UNC will be partnering with Bright Dime. An opportunity was presented to us from the State Office of Human Resources to pilot a program called Bright Dime. They probably don't like that I compare it to this, but you might be familiar with a previous resource, it probably still exists, called mint.com. This is very similar to mint.com. It's a financial management tool. It helps people manage their budgets, know where their budget's going. Those types of resources will be free to you. If you want to talk to someone and get financial coaching, that will be available for a small fee, and you'll be getting more details throughout the new year. We're looking to kick this off and make this available to employees mid-January. So pay attention to your email, pay attention to the WorkWell newsletter. And there's no deadline to register. It will be available to employees and people in their households until the end of 2023. Eat Smart, Move More, Prevent Diabetes kicks off in January. So they'll be offering their sessions mid-January as well. Those will begin January 18th through the 23rd. They're offered in the afternoon and evenings, and it's free to participate, a $30 commitment, and then $30 returned to you for sticking with the program for a year. Do want to remind you about different ways to give back this holiday season. It was mentioned already. I know it's kind of a dreary day, at least this morning, but the blood drive is going on in Fetzer Hall. I'll be joining later this afternoon. I look forward to seeing people there. But if you have the time to step out and give, I know earlier this week there are still plenty of appointments. You don't need an appointment. It's quick. Everyone's friendly. You get a great t-shirt, some snacks. And it's just a wonderful opportunity to give back. Also, just to remind you, this is not specific to the holiday season, but I do want to encourage you to take your community service leave. There are 3 different options of community service leave, one of which is option A. Full-time employees get 24 hours of option A leave each year. And it's there for you to use. So there are a lot of great opportunities locally to give back to your community. I encourage you to check out the links on our community service leave webpage on the HR website, as well as sign up for the public service newsletter, where they highlight some community service leaves as well. It's not just for students, but also for employees. And your ways to save this month, as we do tend to spend a little bit more this time of year. If you're a theater goer, know that you can save tickets at save on tickets at NC Theater, up to 35% off by purchasing those online or calling. And I'll make sure Katie has all that information. You'll get that. It was also in our newsletter that went out last Friday. Also, the DPAC discount is back. We had that previously pre-pandemic. It's called Super Group. And so you get discounts off of theater tickets at the DPAC. So that's very exciting. I'm promoting the Simply Safe Home Security discount today, which is 15% off, a free indoor camera and 2 months of monitoring with the purchase of a new home security system. If you travel a lot, or if you're looking for home security, know that you can save through the Working Advantage website. And if you're treating anyone to a spa gift card, or maybe you want to treat yourself, you can save up to 17% on gift card values when you purchase a gift card of $25 or more, also through the Working Advantage website. And that is through a group called Spa Week. And there are lots of local spas included, including Hand and Stone Massage and others in the area. So you wouldn't have to travel too far. And then I just want to leave you with some holiday tips to maximize your cheer this holiday. These were featured in our Work Well newsletter. But if you didn't have the chance to read that, just the tips to take with you through the month is to make sure that you're not focused on perfection. Just be yourself. Pace yourself. Don't burn yourself out. Set a budget. You can be giving without giving all your paycheck away. Get into the spirits. Make time for yourself. Embrace that time with family and friends. Make sure that you're taking time to connect. Celebrate safely, and make sure to set goals for the upcoming new year. There are resources shared in Work Well on Friday, including PDFs and recordings about gratitude, as well as a 30-minute recording on managing holiday stress. And then just to remind you that guidance resources is there and available for you if this is a difficult time for you, if you've lost a loved one this year. This is not always the happiest time for everybody. So I encourage you to call that number or get a referral online. And that website is guidanceresources.com, web ID Tar Heels. And I do wish you all the best as we close out the year. And I look forward to seeing those who I'll see later this afternoon, and wish you the best of the holiday season. Questions for me?
Thanks, Jessica. Questions? As always, I'm glad to send out your updates to the forum afterwards to disseminate in our units. So thank you for being with us again, Jessica. All right, moving on to the consent agenda, which just includes November minutes, which were sent separately this month by Matt. For those of you who have had a chance to review them, do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Katie, I would like to pull out staff assembly.
The committee reports are separate this time around.
Sorry.
You're good.
This is Arlene. I move to approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? All right, the consent agenda passes. Next up, we have committee reports. We're going to go through these each individually because I know a lot of committees have things to report out at the end of 2022. Crazy that we are already at the end of this year. So first up, we've got communications and public relations. Do we have Shane or Joe on the call?
I'm on the call.
Hi, Joe.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
How's everybody doing? I don't really have anything to report out other than Shane was in the process of making sure the prize winners were notified. I haven't talked to him since we talked about that, but I'm thinking he probably took care of that.
Great.
And that's about it right now.
I may reach out to him to do December in touch following the blood drive to kind of give stats on how today goes. So we'll also touch base on that front.
Okay.
Any book club updates? Is Vanessa on the call?
No, we're just getting ready to roll out the 2023 book club picks, and I'm working with Matt, and he's amazing. So thank you, Matt.
Yes, thank you, Matt. Kurt, your hand's up.
Yeah. I've got an announcement about the CRX, the Go Triangle route. It's shutting down, and we're trying to start up a Carolina livery route to try and pick up a couple trips. Here's a link to the site for more info. Yeah, I know it's not going to be a perfect substitute, but it's kind of the best we can do with limited drivers around with public transit these days.
Yeah, I definitely heard about this. This is definitely interesting. And it's just suspended through March. Is that correct?
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Not gonna
Fingers crossed.
Not gonna predict anything.
More evidence of our driver shortages across multiple different transportation venues. So thanks for the CRX bus, Bonita, the one that goes between UNC and NC State, correct?
It would be the District Drive Park and Ride.
Okay. So Chapel Hill and Raleigh.
Right. So it's not going to be all the stops. It'll be even more express since it's just UNC targeted riders.
Right. Gotcha.
Yep.
Thanks for that update.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Community Service Committee. Do we have Jacob and or Jay on the call? Jacob, hello.
Am I muted? Sorry, I'm also on my iPod because I'm literally could not stop working today.
You're good. You've got quite a stack of binders behind you.
Yeah, that was part of it. Yeah, those were full of stuff and are no longer full of stuff. There's stuff on walls that was not on walls. There's
fun.
a giant full of binders. Anyway, that's what I was doing the last 15 minutes. Sorry, I just saw Vanessa's comment. We are doing a lot of stuff with the Employee Forum Community Service Committee. The main thing that we're doing right now, I'm sure you've seen the emails. If not, I will remind you that I've sent 2 emails. We sponsored 2 children for the Department of Social Services out of Orange County. I thought I was being on top of the ball and reaching out to them before Thanksgiving. I was not. So we do have kind of a short turnaround time. They do want the gifts dropped off this Friday. We are right now about just under $200 for one of the kids in total gifts. We're right under 150 for the little Delilah, who's 1.5 years. And yes, I will use their names if it gets better results. We do have a couple people who have pledged to donate, so we might get more than that. But I would really appreciate anything you can do. I'm on campus all this week. So if you need to come drop something off with me, you can. If money is significantly easier than actually getting out and shopping for a gift, you can do that as well. You can do a Food Lion gift card for a certain amount, or you can also just write me a check or give me some cash and I will run by a Walmart or a toy store and buy a bunch of toys so that these kids can have as good a holiday season as they can, considering that it's been a rough year for everybody. I imagine those who are having to rely on the Department of Social Services are also having a really rough year. And for those who are worried about us not helping out UNC Children's Toy Hospital, I have personally helped start 4 drives because my name was on flyers. So there have been a lot of folks reaching out. The kids in the hospital are getting very, very well taken care of. It just seemed like this year there was a very specific need that we could address. But I know we're short on time, but there is on the Employee Forum Teams meeting. If you go to Community Service Committee sub-channel, you can open up a file that's got our holiday wish list. If you want to join in or commit to getting something, just put your name in there, what you're going to get. Give me a rough amount just so we can kind of keep track. And if one kid seems to be doing better than the other, I can balance things out. Shayla, I will download Venmo if I need to. I think I have Cash App. I'm a Luddite, man. Like, do I give me your phone? Do I actually have Cash App still? I feel like a friend of mine needed money like 1.5 years ago, so I downloaded it then, which means I probably deleted it because. But yeah, I can download Cash App. I can download Venmo. No, I do have Cash App still, and I will download Venmo. Thank you for putting that link, Katie. Sorry, iPads are not the best Zoom interface. I'm sure we've all dealt with something similar. Close enough. Katie, we'll put the right link in just a moment. But yeah, you can also just email me, Womack, my last name, at sog.unc.edu. If you do have questions about doing a digital payment, something like that, we will take care of it. That's it for me. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for organizing that, Jacob. Please do check out the wish list and add your name and what you plan to contribute. Perfect. So let's see.
Oh, I guess I should also talk about what we did last month. So I got way too focused on this one.
Go ahead.
Last month we partnered with Edible Campus and Carolina Dining Service and helped raise a bunch of money and food and toiletry items for Carolina Cupboard. We kind of let it run longer because just this year things have been tight. But I do know that I've already done 2 pretty large drop-offs. They've gotten at least, I mean, just the stuff that I've dropped off, they've probably got a couple 100 pounds of food. So while the inflation is definitely tamping down people's ability to be generous, this campus continues to turn out in a way that is inspiring. Now I'm done.
Kudos on the food drive as well last month. We already kind of talked about the Carolina blood drive. It's underway like as we speak. So again, encourage you all, if you are able to donate, to go out after this meeting is over and donate if you can. Yeah, more updates on the blood drive and what we collect at the next meeting. Community garden, Arlene.
I'm trying what I had to report. Another change over to the winter covers, and Claire is planning on when to do the next advisory committee meeting. Looking forward to it.
Great. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Janet, any updates from you on that?
We had our last meeting of the year, but it was a good one. We kind of repurposed our mission just to make sure that everybody was on board with what we are trying to do as far as finding things that D&I that need to be addressed. And we actually came up with a couple of topics. I'm just going to throw the topics out because we are probably going to start talking about them more in the new year. The first one was private spaces. We do know that we do have some meditation and prayer rooms on campus. However, it is not very convenient to everyone. It's kind of, I know on my side of campus, I only see lactation rooms, which is great, but that's not a place that I would like to go and meditate. And these are not just for meditation. It's more about a lot of people have mental health appointments in the middle of the day. Sometimes people receive bad news. So it's not necessarily that it's always going to be able to be scheduled. So that's where we're really going with this as far as mental healthness. Sometimes people need to have a private space for private conversations in order to get through the day. So we're going to work on that. The other one we've already kind of talked about, and that was the DOPS resolution. We just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of how we felt as a committee. We've already kind of talked about that. Thank you, Rebecca. The other two items, one of them that some people may not be aware of, and that is the workplace for women who are going through menopause and other issues as far as taking care of elderly care and that sort of thing. So it was just it was one of those topics that kind of trickled down into a lot of things that are definitely women-driven issues. Sometimes the single parent, the taking care of the elderly, the taking care of their child, and we just need to bring it to the forefront that they may need some extra advantages or stipulations to help manage their households. And the last but not least, minors in the workplace. This has become a hot topic, and there are definitely pros and cons to both. I get it. Some places cannot have minors in the workplace, but then there are also some employees that they need to be able to bring their child in, to the workplace if they are expected to do their job. So those are kind of the topics we're going to try to focus on for next year. And the last thing is that for our for our January 1st meeting, we do have a special guest, Deborah Strollin. She is going to lend an ear and kind of just meet the committee. If you don't know who she is doing the reflection series for the DEAR program. So I have personally invited her to just kind of connect with the D&I committee. So
that's the January 23rd meeting?
It is. Okay. It is. So and as always, everybody and anybody is welcome to attend our D&I meetings. It is not a closed meeting. So if there's something that you want to express, concern, ideas, suggestion, or just lend an ear, you are always welcome. So let me know, or Rebecca knows, if you want the Zoom invite. Thank you, guys.
Great. Thanks, Janet. Next up, we have education and career development. Laura is quite busy today managing the blood drive, and Ellie is still out on maternity leave. So I guess I'll give a quick update. I know Matt is busy processing several of the professional development grants that were just recently awarded in the past few weeks. So thank you, Matt, for all of your work with that, because it is not easy with this concur process. So thank you for your patience in weeding through that process. Next up, executive committee. I don't know that we have any real updates there other than we changed the date of the executive committee this month, pushed it back a week because we know a lot of folks are going to be taking that week right before the winter holiday off to get that full 2 weeks off. So just wanted to be cognizant of the fact that most people are going to be out that week, or a lot of people will be out. So it is now on Friday, December 16th, same time as normal, 11:30 to 1:30. So if you can make it, great. Next up, we got membership and assignments. Any updates from Tiffany and or Keith?
I don't have any.
Okay.
If Tiffany doesn't, I don't. She runs this show. I just tag along. Do
Yeah.
have a very quick question. What did we say the book of the month was? The next for book club, did we say?
Vanessa, what's the first book?
It's gonna be I'm posting the meeting details online, and it's gonna be the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, and I can post that in the chat.
Thank you.
Thanks,
You're
Vanessa.
welcome. Thank you.
Next up, personnel issues. Matthew Teal, Leah Hefner. Are either of you on the call?
Yes, I don't know if we have too many major updates other than that Matthew and I participated in the meeting yesterday with the U3 advisors, which was the consulting firm to address affordable housing, particularly for universities and healthcare systems. I thought it was a pretty lively discussion. There were 8 to 10 other forum members there, and we just look forward to hearing more of what comes out of that, and we'll take up this issue again in the spring.
Great. Yes, thank you for everyone that participated in that conversation yesterday. It was great to get a meeting with them and have staff voices heard in the beginning of this process. So fingers crossed that we come up with a workable solution from the university on affordable housing. Let's see here. Next up, recognition and awards. I believe that we're kind of in a lull right now. We don't pick that back up until the spring, correct, Tiffany?
Correct.
Excellent. Staff assembly, Shayna.
Hey, everybody. I wanted to share something that was pretty openly talked about at the Board of Governors meeting. So I don't think I'm letting the cat out of the bag, but for the foreseeable future, career banding stands. I will say that we are advocating extremely hard directly to the Board of Governors and the system president that the market rates be adjusted ASAP. So we will continue to do that work as hard and as long as we have to. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Shayna. Next staff assembly meeting is in March, correct?
That is correct.
Excellent. Still TBD on where that's going to be, but we will hopefully find that out before March. Okay, moving on to university committees. I don't have any stack updates other than we have a planning meeting in December to kind of brainstorm and plan for topics of discussion for our January stack meeting. Campus Community Advisory Committee is on hiatus. We have not heard anything on that front. Carolina Next Advisory Committee has not met this quarter yet. No updates there. University Day Commencement Committee. University Day went well. Commencement in December, we aren't typically involved in, but in May, hopefully we will start that process soon. EOC Policy Advisory Group, we have not met in a while. Tuition and Fee Advisory Task Force and Student Fee Advisory Subcommittee, TFAT and SFAS as they're otherwise known. Tracy, I know you had some updates to bring forward about the work of those two committees. Is Tracy on the call? That's a good question.
No, she's
If
not.
not, then we will bring forward the update at the executive committee later this month. Carolina Center for Public Service Advisory Committee. I did hear from someone in CCPS that they're planning to start the advisory committee back up sometime soon. So hopefully we will hear word on that and have an employee forum delegate as usual sit on that advisory committee. DEI Council, Janet, I think you've been working with Leah to make sure that you are listed on those meetings. So fingers crossed we hear about the next meeting soon. Building and Grounds Committee, James, Jamie, I think there was some updates from you.
Well, we did not meet in November. We do meet tomorrow. We have a rather lengthy agenda, so hopefully by the executive committee, I'll have something to report.
Fingers crossed. Good luck with that law school discussion. Policy Review Committee, Matthew Teal, Rebecca Howell. I know that we plan to talk about some things in January with a special guest, but I wanted to see if you wanted to update everyone on that.
Sure,
Rebecca, if you want to take it.
Okay. So we will be having a special guest in January at our meeting to discuss a conversation that we're having in the Policy Review Committee regarding minors in the workplace. It's something we talked about a bit in our DEI committee, but it's definitely something that the PRC is looking into. There's not a decision as to whether to make a campus-wide policy. I do believe we'll have a guest speaker at the January meeting. Her name escapes me at the moment.
Star Sanders.
Sanders, thank you. I can remember
Yep,
Star. I can remember the last name. And she'll be bringing some data that she's been collecting to the meeting in January. So we're hoping to get some input from folks here. We know there's a huge variety of experiences on the employee forum and the different areas of campus in terms of where it's flexible, where it's impossible, if you will, and maybe where it's more challenging. So be thinking about that with your areas and bring your ideas to January's meeting and be ready to hear from Star.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Advisory Committee for Transportation and Parking, we did finally get the call that they are forming the 5-year planning group and committee, and Keith and I are going to be the 2 delegates that are going to serve on that for the employee forum. So hopefully they call our first meeting soon to start that process, which is very timely and very important as we work through potential changes to transportation parking for the next 5-year plan. More to come on that after hopefully we meet for the first time. Parking appeals, I don't think we typically have updates there. Tiffany, correct me if I'm wrong.
Not unless Chrissy has some.
I don't know if Chrissy's on the call.
She was.
She is not any longer. Okay, student stores, David or Annetta, any updates on student stores? Probably have not met.
We have not met.
No, we haven't.
Carolina Peer Support Committee, Elizabeth DeBose, Tiffany Carver, Tiffany Foreman, Charlissa, Sarah.
So I did want to give an update. The UNC Peer Support Corps has launched a call for proposals for mini grants that advance peer support at UNC. And so I'm gonna send that email out to the listserv, but basically these projects or things that they're approving, it could be activities or resources, things that like just facilitate people connecting on campus. It can focus on staff, students, faculty, just them or all together, either or. But I think it's a really great opportunity for folks who have really good ideas about ways to help peer support. And it is rolling, they're rolling applications. So it started on November the 7th, and they'll be accepting applications through April the 30th. But I'll send out that email so you can get more information from the website.
Excellent. All right, well, that does it for committee updates. Thank you all for your work on all of those committees across campus. The only other thing I have in terms of new business or announcements, we do have a Vice Chancellor representatives meeting coming up on Thursday. The agenda has been set for that, but if you would like to attend and did not receive an invite, please reach out to Matt Banks. It's from 10 to 11 a.m. on Zoom this Thursday, December 8th. I'm going to open up the floor at this time to any kind of new business, any announcements or questions that delegates want to bring forward as we close out 2022.
Just wanted to say thank you, Katie, for another successful year of the employee forum. You've been super busy. And so your leadership has been priceless and we appreciate you, and yay to another successful year of the forum.
Well, right back at each and every one of you. It's a team effort. I could not do it without you all. So thank you. The work the employee forum does is really important, and this group is just so critical to campus. So your service on this group does not go unnoticed, and I appreciate each and every one of you. So with that said, unless there's any other burning updates that people want to bring forward, I vote that we end this meeting early and we all go out to the blood drive. That's just my thought behind that process. So yeah, any final updates? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So move.
I just want to congratulate us on surviving.
Yay, congratulations. We did another year on this thing, in this thing called life. So yay to all of us.
Happy holidays, y'all, and I move that we adjourn.
All right, perfect. Thank you to everybody. Happy holidays. Enjoy your break. Please take time to have a break. I know all of us are workaholics a lot and like to do all the things. Take some times for some self-care over break for sure. So
happy holidays.
And reach out if you need anything over the holidays too. I know that not everybody, the holidays is a tough time for some people. So we are a community of people that care about one another. So the forum is a family and a resource for you all as well. So thanks everybody. Please be sure to check out the Jacob's list for us sponsoring those two lovely children. And please feel free to join us at the blood drive later today. So thank you all.
Bye y'all. Stay safe.
See everybody. Happy holidays.
Bye everybody.
Take care.
That's for today, Katie. I wasn't anticipating the chance of being delayed, but
I don't think anybody was anticipating that. We thought on our feet though. So
yeah.
Thank you for all your help, Matt, and I hope to see you maybe this afternoon.
Yep, very good. Well, yeah, definitely. I'm giving it 1:30. So
excellent. All right, folks. Thanks everybody. Benita, it's good to see you virtually.
Benita and Kelly, I'm gonna close down the meeting in about 30 seconds or so. Okay, I'm shutting down the meeting now. Thank you very much. You guys have a good day.